God, I pray that you both protect me and the listeners, as well as those who are not listening, from evil, and that you give us kindness and boldness and the ability to look over other people's imperfections so that we can forgive people who wrong us, and also find it within ourselves to make things right when we do things wrong. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Okay, this is, I believe, the second Vultpod. These don't come out often, I realize, because oftentimes I try to get other people to collaborate with me, but usually they have either previous arrangements or they can't contact me at all. So this time I'm going to do it all by myself. No special guests, so nothing to worry about there. So on the first topic, how you doing, audience? Please take a minute to perhaps respond to that question in the comments. Of course, I don't need your personal details. That's not something I'm on YouTube to ask about. I just want some contact with the audience, some feedback. Perhaps for next time, you could give me some questions that I can answer, and we can have a Q&A segment, which I personally would love. So thank you for tuning in and listening to Vultpod. If most of you will probably be new to this channel, or either have been just found one of my stray videos and watched a series and then wondered, oh, what else does this random guy make on the channel, and they found this Vultpod back in the annals of the rear end of the bottom of the barrel of the channel. But I do have to say, thanks for tuning in. So, on the first subject, I'm going to say, what do you think about sticks? I'm holding a stick right now. It's obviously wooden. I'm not talking about different kinds of sticks, but do you like wooden sticks? Do you find them entertaining? Are they interesting? Now, that's a confusing question to some people. It's not confusing to me, but well, take a moment in the comments to write about your thoughts about sticks. I like sticks. If you have a dog and the dog likes fetching, sticks are good for that. So just take a moment. So, why did I ask you about sticks? Now, that's a very interesting story. In fact, it's not an interesting story. It's simply the fact that I have a stick here in my hand right now, and I thought, well, I don't know what I'm going to talk about, so how about this random stick? Okay? So, if you're angry, feel free to be angry. I'm not bothered by that. But don't take it out on other commenters on YouTube. I mean, just because you're angry doesn't mean you should try to provoke others, because you got to be nice to everyone, alright? I'm not saying you have to respect other people's lifestyle in the sense that you're going to approve of them. No, what I'm saying is that you should at least not attack the person, alright? You might not like things that other people do, and it's alright to not like what other people do. It's, in fact, a good thing, because it helps keep societies afloat, alright? Because, imagine, someone decides, oh, I'm gonna murder a lot of people. What are you gonna do? Are you just gonna sit there and say, alright, none of my business? No, it is your responsibility to say, no, you can't just go around killing people. I'm going to report you to the police. And what are they going to say? They're going to say, oh, respect my rights, bro. Don't judge me. No, because there are instances in which you should judge people, all right? You should judge people's actions. Because, well, if you didn't, society wouldn't function, of course. So on another subject, have you watched movies, all right, where there's lens flares, okay? So you're watching a movie, and then suddenly a lens flare, and you're wondering, why lens flare? I mean, at first sight, it makes it understandable that a light that's being shown is bright or something, but if you really think about it, because you should think about things, all right? If you really think about it, you've got just this lens flare, okay? Now think about this carefully. Is the film implying that the film itself is being filmed according to the film's perspective by a camera? And if it is, for example, a documentary or found footage film or something like that, then lens flare is fine. It makes a lot of sense. But if it's not, then why the lens flare, bro? I think it really cuts down on my immersion when I'm watching a movie, and I'm thinking, oh, it's so cool, and then suddenly lens flare, immersion ruined. I mean, I've got a party, and then somebody just walks right into the middle of my party, okay? And they party poop, alright? They just walk into the center of the room while everybody's having fun, they pull down their pants, and they just leave a big stinker on the floor. Has that ever happened to you in one of your parties? I certainly hope not. It's not happened in one of mine, but I certainly hope it doesn't. So, that's my thoughts on lens flare. So, on another thing, do you know what the pound symbol is? All right. If you don't know what it is, it's sort of like an equal sign with a double slash. It's also known as the number symbol, or to all the youngsters out there, they might call it the hashtag. Now, the question is, why change the name? What's wrong with pound symbol? What's the big problem here? Why call it a hashtag? And why use it as such? It's beyond me. Please explain in the comments. Now, I'm asking you to comment a lot because, as I said earlier, I love interacting with the audience. If I had any interaction at all, which at this point I don't, I would certainly love to have some. So, now, in this segment of the show, we're going to talk about me for a second here. I have been putting out some videos. I know there was a big interlude at some point, but Minecraft Skyblock Sky Factory is back. Blood and Steel is also back. I don't know where we're going to be going with the Blood and Steel series. I don't know at which point I want to finish off with it, or if I want to end the season or start a new season or something, but be assured that it will continue at least until the end of the big siege that we're in right now. And the Skyblock, I do intend on continuing that. I am, however, having problems getting in touch with some other people for me to do multiplayer with. So it might come out, it might not. Cross your fingers, be hopeful. Not that crossing your fingers will do anything, so... but a prayer is always nice. Everybody needs a prayer. Everybody loves a prayer. I mean... prayers are nice. Why wouldn't you have a prayer? Okay, so on the topic of myself, recently somebody called me, they said I looked like Grizzly Adams, and I'm thinking, well, I can imagine, but who is Grizzly Adams exactly? And if you're interested, there should be a picture of him coming on screen right about now. an artist's rendition of Grizzly Adams, the original one, not the TV show one. So please, if you feel like it, please do research him. I have already, and I find that he was quite an interesting man. Poor guy, though, about the circumstances of his death. Rather unfortunate, but I guess it's a risk. It's a risky business, all right. Mates, risky business. So here's my question to you: do you like politics? Do you like religion? Do you like politics and religion being discussed about on YouTube? If the answer is yes, then, well, congratulations. If the answer is no, then my question to you is, why not? Is it because you find it divisive? But if you really think about it, religion and politics are the two most important things that you could possibly talk about. In the grand scheme of things, at least. Of course, staying alive is also pretty important, but religion and politics certainly are at the top of my list. Because religion, in the sense that what is the purpose of the life? Is there a purpose for life? And what should your moral guidelines be? And politics being, in what manner should you be ruled? Now, on my political stance, I personally don't view the idea of revolution very highly unless I can really think of someone seriously oppressing someone in a very bad way. I mean, high taxes, I personally would not make that a reason for revolution. Now, mass murder, yeah, I would rebel if there was mass murder, but so that puts me in this dangerous spot where people are probably going to hate on me because, to be honest, I really can't find on my own conscience a reason that I would find good enough to support the idea of having a revolution in the instance of the American Revolution. Because, to be honest, as far as I know, there wasn't any mass murder or mass rape or anything going on that was sanctioned by the government. It was just people having problems with the way the government was working, was taking away things that had been promised to them, and also was weakening their economic status. And I personally don't see that as a good enough reason for revolution. But if you do, then please do enlighten me, because I personally find the subject rather interesting. So, have you had a cup of tea today? I like tea. I find it very good. What's your favorite? Are you gonna go all tea, Earl Grey, hot in the comments section? But I don't know. I don't know what kind of people that are viewing me right now, because at this point, as I said before, I don't have any interaction with you. Please do respond. Please do comment. I want to answer questions. I want to have a Q&A section. I would love to have a Q&A section. That would just be so amazing. Right now, I'm just some guy sitting alone in a room, ranting to his computer screen on his sound recorder, holding a stick and waving it around, sitting in a swiveling chair that makes creaking noises when I shift my weight. Yeah. So as I said, some people think I look like Grizzly Adams. Of course, I'm not showing my picture as of this point yet, but in future times I might do maybe some face cam stuff, or I don't know. I personally don't know how face cam stuff works. I've never done it. It'd be interesting, I think. But yeah. So, do you like the news? That's another question. Do you like watching the news? I like watching the news. I think it's very informative. Of course, you have to look for news sources that are informative. A lot of times, news tend to either focus on one thing extremely, which I personally find rather annoying to an extreme degree, when all the news people focus on one thing. For example, a few years back, there was this woman that was Casey Anthony, and she was on trial because her daughter had first disappeared and then died, and the trial was on whether it was her fault or not. But the problem I was having wasn't about the trial or anything. I won't get into details on that, but the media was all over that, and I'm thinking, one person died. Please focus on, if you're going to focus on people dying, please focus on something where a lot of people die, maybe some genocide that's happening out there, because I know there is genocide. But the media sometimes goes for the stories which affect people more than stories which are actually important in the grand scheme of things. So that's a serious problem that I have with some forms of media, where they just go over the same story over and over again, as if there isn't something else to report that would be much more important, such as countries passing major laws, major policy changes, large groups of people getting killed, that advances and retreats in wars that are going on. Those things not only I find informative and interesting, but those things are things that are important news-wise, because they affect a lot of people. So personally, if I had been in charge of the news, the Casey Anthony trial probably would not have been more than a local thing, because it didn't really affect as many people. Of course, laws were made in response to it, and that did affect more people, but the trial itself, I didn't find that influential in the grand scheme of things. Or that time when an airplane went missing, it wasn't that it didn't affect a lot of people, because a lot of people were affected, but it was the simple fact that the media did the story to death. They kept doing reports on it over and over again, day in and day out, on the hour, and with no new information also. And it's just and they just had people theorizing and wondering about what happened, but there wasn't actually any new information that people had. And that's also a problem in media, when they go for a story and they try to get right into the story right away, even though they don't have any information, and they try to make the most out of it with pretty much maybe one paragraph's worth of actual objective information, and they just fill in the rest with people theorizing about it, which doesn't really do anything to solve the problem, because most of those people don't even have any involvement in the investigation. So that's another big problem. But there's a lot of problems in life, so why be sad when you can be happy? Being happy is fun. You should try being happy if you're not already happy. Of course, there is a time to be sad, there's time to be angry, but happiness also should not be the thing in life that you always search for. Because if you just look for happiness in everything you do, you will end up chasing after things that you can't catch, things that you just can't keep up with, and that's not good for your health, because it leads you into making bad choices such as follow your heart. That's never gone wrong for anyone, right? Well, yes, it has. It's just, don't do things because you feel that it's going to make you happy, or you're just following your feelings. You have to always think about things and think about what you say. You have to say the right things, but also say the true things. And things are true regardless of whether it may offend someone, because sometimes people are going to be offended and they need to hear it anyway. They need to hear the truth anyway, even though they're going to be offended by it, because it's the right thing to do. And my motto has been do the right thing. So why not? Why not do the right thing? Personally, I say never lie. It always gets you into trouble. It's gotten me into trouble. So I do my best to avoid it at all possible times. Even if lying maybe would help someone out, maybe would make someone happy, that it's just one thing that you should avoid. So back on the topic of sticks, what can you use sticks for? You can use them to build a nice fire, and you can use them to stab small animals, because eating animals is fine. I certainly, if you are a vegetarian or vegan, please do write in the comments why you are a vegetarian or vegan. Is it a dietary thing where you say that you're either trying to lose weight, or you're seeing if it's a healthier diet, or is it a moral thing where you're saying that I can't hurt animals or allow animals to get hurt? I really would love to know, because I find that subject rather interesting on many levels, on all the levels. So yes, please do tell. By the way, chemical element of the day is, let me think, selecting at random, I'm trying to stick my stick into the elements chart I've got here. And what do I have? Erbium. What's erbium? It's in the lanthanide series, so it's a rare earth metal, I believe, and I know practically nothing about it, so that's the element of the day. Have a lot of fun with your erbium and whatever you do with it. Probably make cell phones or some crazy wazoo or something. Yeah, that's the element of the day, erbium. So, on the topic of mimes, do you like mimes? Do mimes creep you out? Do mimes make you laugh? How do you feel about mimes? How does that make you feel? Does it make you entertained? Does it make you upset? Does it make you cry like a little baby that you are? No. Personally, I'm fine with mimes. Of course, I personally would find someone that actually talked to me to be perhaps a bit more entertaining. I like complex jokes that, not practical jokes. I don't like hurting other people, but complex jokes where someone says something and you really have to think about it to understand. And when you finally do understand, it's extremely funny, and I find that very enthralling and quite entertaining, to be honest. So yeah, that's amazing and good for me. How do you feel about mimes? I don't know. That's why I'm asking. So I'm still waving this stick around that I've got in my hand. Just flopping it around. There you go. It's hitting objects. Yeah, why do I have a stick? I don't know. It's just so strange. It's, I don't even know what plant it's from. It's possibly a hardwood. I can see some markings on it that indicate that maybe some larval insects were eating part of it. But I don't really know. I don't know what it's from. I don't know why I have it. Why am I even holding it? I have no idea. It's just this weird thing. I like holding a stick. It's like having a weapon at all times. Does that frighten you? Do you believe that people should not be armed at all times? I personally would say if I were armed at all times, I personally would feel very confident and very cool, because you know that if something goes down downtown in Pain Town and you're in a store and someone holds you up with one of their big guns and they're all, I'm gonna shoot you dead, you can just pull out your gun and take them down. Because it's why wouldn't you take down some guy that's threatening to kill a lot of people? You save a lot of people's lives, you become a hero in your town, and everywhere else in the country they hate you for having used a gun because they're anti-self-defense or something weird like that. They're all, oh, you can't rely on yourself, you gotta wait for the police. Well, what if the police doesn't get there and the person shoots? Alright, they shoot their gun, they run out of bullets. Perfect time for you to take them down when they need to reload. They're busy reloading, and no one's got a gun. They successfully reload, they kill a handful of other people, out of bullets again, still no one there with a gun. They reload, and since no one's there with a gun, they don't really have an advantage over someone who's out of bullets. So that's one reason why a lot of people die, is they don't have someone there with a weapon when they need it. Because let's be honest, more people who have guns are honest people than dishonest people. And if you're in New York City, for example, I heard that in New York City at some point, someone was giving a list of the addresses of people that owned guns. You might say, oh, look at those scary people. They've got guns. But when you really think about it, besides having people protesting against weapons on their front lawns, this really allows the criminals to know which people not to attack. They're all, okay, these people have guns, and everybody else, no guns. So I can take my illegal weapon, which I purchased illegally from another country or something, and not me, of course, because I personally wouldn't shoot somebody or hold them up just for laughs and giggles. That's not my style. I don't do crime. I think people should respect the law. But for those people that do crime, they just go into town, and when they see all that list of addresses of people with guns, they know exactly which homes not to attack, and all the rest is open game, because all the rest of people, what do they have? Baseball bats, pillows. Well, actually, pillows are quite dangerous. More people are murdered with, I think, pillows than with guns in the US. So it really makes you you realize that, are guns the real problem? Probably not. So that's my stance on people having guns. It's always good to defend yourself and your family, so that you don't have to rely on good old Uncle Sam saving your butt every time. Because it's good to have the government there to help you when you get into trouble, but sometimes they can't get there fast enough. Because if people have a gun, alright, if some guy comes in with a gun, they have a gun there now. The police might be there in 5 minutes, but anything can happen. How many shots can that person get off in 5 minutes? You don't know, because it's really hard to mathematically calculate, because you don't know what type of gun they have and how many bullets they have and stuff. But just that simple fact means that you should have at least some way to stop that person in those 5 minutes before the police arrives, so that you can save more lives. You can save a whole 5 minutes worth of lives. And that's good. Why wouldn't you? Okay. So, I guess that's enough for today. Hopefully next time I'll have someone else here with me to have a nice conversation with. Maybe comment on some stuff that's going on. But today it's solo. Solo YOLO. Well, maybe not YOLO. It's more like YOLT. You only live twice. But you only die once. So that's YODO. You could die twice. Religious issues. Okay. So that's enough for today. See you all next time.